things you might not know. From the biggest flops to the greatest hits, this is Trash Can Tidbits.
Hey everybody! I hope everyone is having a good start to the new year. It's been a while, I admit. I was wrapped up in my own things. But hey, I got a new video for this time in VRChat, and I'm ready to bring the facts. Last time I asked the question, true or false? The name Ravenwood came from a restaurant in Los Angeles. The answer is false. Lawrence Kasdan revealed in one interview that when he was writing the script to Raiders of the Lost Ark, he already knew that he wanted to name the main heroine Marion after his wife's grandmother. The name Ravenwood actually came from a side street in Los Angeles called Ravenwood Court, in the neighborhood of Beverly Glen. Interestingly enough, though the name didn't originate from a restaurant, in the movie, Marion is the proprietor of a Tibetan bar called The Raven. Now with that addressed, let's get started with fact number 1. Did you know that Hideo Kojima's original game plan for Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 was for them to be released on each new PlayStation console? With the release of the original PlayStation, the first MGS was indeed released on that, as was the second game released for the PlayStation 2. And Metal Gear Solid 3 was originally supposed to be released for the PlayStation 3. However, development for the console was pushed back by some years, and Kojima simply couldn't wait anymore. As a result, development kits were not available, and Kojima eventually released the third game on the PS2, taking its development for all it was worth. Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots would be released on the PS3 instead, and not the PS4. Fact 2. Did you know that it was Sean Connery's idea for his character in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade to be romantically linked to the female lead? In the movie, Indy rescues his father from the Nazis, and it's also revealed that the young woman who has been assisting Indy, Dr. Elsa Schneider, is a Nazi as well, and Professor Jones also knows this. When Indy asks how his father knew, he replies, "She talks in her sleep," suggesting that Elsa was more than a colleague. Sean Connery, no stranger to working with attractive women, suggested to Steven Spielberg that Elsa did have an intimate relationship with the professor before she met Indy, and these one-liners were eventually worked into the script. This charm also shows during the scene when Elsa says to Indy, "I will never forget how wonderful it was," to which Professor Jones says, "Well, thank you. It was rather wonderful." Fact 3. Did you know that the video game Enter the Matrix was directly made side by side with the two Matrix sequels? Not only was the game made with The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, but the Wachowskis also decided to make an episode of The Animatrix that was done as a prelude to the video game. The short film Final Flight of the Osiris was a CG short compared to other episodes of the anthology anime series, and told a crucial point of the plot that led into the game and the two following sequels. The game Enter the Matrix begins with the characters retrieving a message that the characters from the Osiris short left them, warning them of a machine uprising, leading directly into the plot of the game and the movies. To the best of my knowledge, though, this was the first time the plot of an anime short led into the simultaneous plots of a whole movie series and a video game to tie everything together. Fact 4. Did you know that Goldeneye 007 for the Nintendo 64 was originally going to be an on-rail shooter? Before the official engine for the N64 was even revealed to the team at Rare, they had wanted to make the game a side-scroller, similar to Donkey Kong Country. But development then shifted from the Super Nintendo to the N64, with the intention of making it a first-person on-rail shooter similar to Sega's Virtua Cop series. In fact, the second level in the game, Facility, was shown off at a Nintendo trade show with the on-rails control scheme. It was later decided to make the player move around freely to have better control, but still contain certain actions from Virtua Cop, like reloading weapons and zooming in on targets to have better aim. Thus, the modern console FPS was born. But the game still took a further 2 years to make after that, but that's a story for another day. Fact 5. Did you know that for the film Straight Outta Compton, Ice Cube's own son not only played his father, but is also mentioned in the film itself? O'Shea Jackson Jr. made his film debut in the film, playing, of course, his father, O'Shea Jackson Sr., also known as Ice Cube. rumors went around that all the members of NWA would be played by their own sons. In fact, Lil Eazy-E, the son of Eazy-E, auditioned to play his father in the film as well, but it didn't work out. Lil Eazy would instead end up coaching the actor who eventually played his father. But it doesn't stop there either. In one scene, Cube mentions that he has a son on the way. Ironically, Cube, played by his own son, is actually talking about himself in this very scene. How meta is that? Fact 6. Did you know that despite the title of the movie being called The Verdict, there was originally not going to be a verdict? The film, which was released in 1982, told the story of an alcoholic lawyer played by Paul Newman who takes on a seemingly minor case that eventually works its way up the Boston courtroom ranks, in an effort to redeem his honor as a lawyer. Screenwriter David Mamet, best known for fast-talking plays like Glengarry Glen Ross, wrote the original draft of the script. However, the film was going to end with no verdict at all. When the film's director, Sidney Lumet, read the script, he convinced Mamet that the film would be incomplete without the case getting a final resolution, and so it was written. Bonus fact, a then unknown Bruce Willis appears as an extra in Paul Newman's final closing argument scene. Now, Fact 7 technically isn't a spoiler for Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery since it takes place in Daniel Craig's first scene, but I thought it would be fun to include it since I'm a theater nut. Did you know that Glass Onion serves as the final film for both Angela Lansbury and songwriter Stephen Sondheim? The film came out posthumously after both of them had passed away. They appear in a Zoom call with Daniel Craig's character, Detective Benoit Blanc, playing Among Us, along with two other celebrities, Natasha Lyonne and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It should be noted, too, that Lansbury and Sondheim had shoutouts in the first film, Knives Out. A character in that film is seen watching a Spanish-dubbed episode of Lansbury's hit TV show Murder, She Wrote, and Blanc sings along to the song Losing My Mind from the Sondheim musical, Follies. Fact 8. Did you know that Roy Scheider, best known for playing Chief Martin Brody in Jaws, was asked to cameo in Jaws 4 at one point? He flatly refused to do so, reportedly telling the producers, "Satan himself can't make me do it." It wouldn't have mattered anyway. The movie would have started off with Brody's death by the shark, and there is archival footage of him that pops up throughout. So it wasn't necessary. The original script also featured a cameo from Matt Hooper, the marine biologist played by Richard Dreyfuss in the first film. Dreyfuss also turned down the offer to appear in the film. The only cast member from the original film to appear was Lorraine Gary, who played Ellen Brody. To this day, though, Jaws the Revenge remains her final acting role as she got out of the game shortly after its release. She has not been in another film ever since. Fact 9. Did you know that Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness is the only game of the franchise to feature a second playable character? In some stages of the game, you play as Curtis Trent, a young man with psychic powers who is searching for the man who killed his father and bumps into Lara Croft along the way, initially believing that she is the killer, and they eventually team up. This actually harkens back to the original genesis of Tomb Raider as featuring two selectable characters. It was decided to go with Lara as the sole playable character to make the series stand out for the rest of the gaming competition at the time. To this day, though, Angel of Darkness is the only game in the Tomb Raider franchise in which you play as someone else other than Lara Croft. Fact 10. Did you know that a Justin Timberlake poster appears in Princess Fiona's bedroom in Shrek 2? Ironically, the filmmakers claimed that they had no idea that Cameron Diaz, who plays Fiona, had just started dating Timberlake in real life. And even more interestingly, JT himself would play Artie, Fiona's cousin, in Shrek the Third, making the self-aware joke even more weird given the circumstances. Diaz and Timberlake would end up splitting up in 2007, the same year that Shrek the Third was released. And here's today's trivia question. Now that we talked about the origins of Indiana Jones' most famous love interest, let's get to know the man underneath the hat for a bit. We all know that Harrison Ford was pretty busy in the 70s and 80s, playing Han Solo and Indiana Jones for George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Heck, he even earned an Oscar nomination for playing a cop who goes undercover in Amish country in the movie Witness, which actually came in handy as he did start out as a carpenter before becoming an actor. But I digress. You may be surprised to learn that he actually did film a cameo in another big Spielberg movie in the 80s, but it ended up being cut out so as to not outshine the other actors, and one character in particular. My question to you is, which Steven Spielberg movie did Harrison Ford film a cameo for that was cut? And there we go for this episode. I hope you all liked what I brought. Stay tuned for more Twitch content, music stuff, and videos like this in VRChat. Oh yeah, I really got some fun stuff planned for this year. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring the bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.